Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Teresa Pedroche. I'm head of community engagement, and I'm one of the curators of this exhibition. Very honored to be part of this show. I'd like to thank you all for being, all the students and teachers and parents for being here, being part of this exemplary program and exhibition. We have the Young Masters exhibition was created over 15 years to recognize outstanding artistic expression in the Dallas area and to inspire all artists to reach their full potential. We're honored and we're so happy that these 3 years ago when we added the music theory and the art history also to the exhibition. And I can't tell you the amount of people that come and especially the young children that you're inspiring because they do come back and they see it many, many more times. And this coming Monday, I don't know how many of you know, but we announced that we're having free admission. It's beginning Monday. We're going to have a lot of major programs that day. We have the schedule outside that you can see as well. And so you'll get to, it's like prime time. This is the top gallery. Everybody has to pass through here to see all of the other shows, and they're getting to see your works, and they're responding and being inspired. So I know Monday's a holiday, so if you have time and you want to come back, I know a lot of visitors will be wanting to see your works and will have questions. We had a panel of respected judges for each of the disciplines that reviewed a total of 620 works from participating artists, and they selected 56 works in the exhibition this year. So it is a huge honor. I can't tell you how much. Also, for the music theory and the art history essays, you can hear those on your smartphones, or you can go to our website and you can download that for free. You can also vote for your favorite work of art tonight, and then we're going to have the People's Choice Award, and then you can check the AP Strategies website after February 18th to see which work earned the People's Choice Award. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you, Deborah Moore, who's the director of the AP program, and Melissa Berry for also working with her on this. There's a lot of work that goes on, and Deborah, I appreciate all the work that you do for everyone. And now I'd like to introduce Nancy Churnin. She is going to be interviewing the students, and Nancy, she works for the staff writer for the Dallas Morning News, and she covers the health and children's entertainment. She has a passion for covering all things kids, and does a monthly health kids column in addition to other health coverage. She began writing for the Dallas Morning News in 1999. Before that, she served as a theater critic in the San Diego edition of the Los Angeles Times, writing a weekly column, reviews and features, and winning 2 San Diego area press awards in back-to-back years for the best arts feature. I don't know how many of you have read her columns, but she's always has the top. Every time I read her stories in the Guide or the others, it's like I want to attend all of them. She's very thorough, and she has a lot of experience. So we're very honored to have you here today. She also interned at the Newsday in 1980 and was a regular contributor to the San Francisco magazine in the early 1980s. She's also a member of the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild, dating back to her work as a staff writer on the hit television show Happy Days. Isn't that great? Nancy has a BS in from Harvard University, where she wrote for the Harvard Independent, and an MS from Columbia University's Columbia School of Journalism, where she was a Jacqueline Rodden Scholar. So again, thank you for being here, and congratulations.
I'm very honored to be here. I love the Young Masters exhibit. I enjoy covering it. I am so impressed, and I'm always amazed each year how it gets better and better, because I don't know how you're able to do that, but I am just so impressed with the passion, the artistry, the talent that you bring, and I'm looking forward to talking to each of you who is here today. Thank you. And I had a small piece about it today. Today was I will have another piece about it February 8th. So look for that. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Please come up, Anna. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So you can take the microphone. So you wrote in your mission statement that at first you had trouble coming up with an idea, and you were speaking with your art teacher, and what was it that your art teacher said that got you going?
She basically just said that this piece is just supposed to represent us, and it's supposed to be the best of the best, and I'm used to having a theme that helps, spark an idea, and this was just a visual of not having any idea what to do for this, and it worked out, I guess.
Well, it's an interesting concept, because a lot of times people don't create because they're paralyzed, right? They can't come up with an idea, so they don't do anything. Mm-hmm. So it was, even if you couldn't come up with something, you had to do it.
Opportunity. You can't pass that.
Exactly, and I love how with this you read these words and how it ends with stick figure or something. So that's almost like saying,
people say like, I can't even draw a stick figure, so I was like, why not put a stick figure in there?
That's great. That's great. And then you put the little symbols of in there. How did you feel? How did you know when you had it, that you felt you had a piece?
Right when the conversation ended, and I like to work with words, so I knew I was going to have like a typeset design. And she just says, we'll use the conversation. I was like, is that a joke? And she said no, so I just started sketching it out and trying to figure, well, I guess this is it.
That's great. And what did you use to create it? Is this what materials did you use here?
I started out with a plain sheet of paper, penciled in the words, then cut them out with an X-Acto knife, and splashed some acrylic paint on it, and used matting tape to stick it all down.
And Anna, how do you feel now when you look at it? I mean, how does it make you feel?
Accomplished.
It makes her feel accomplished. And so, yes, and that's a big thing, so that you know that you have confidence next time you sit down, that you can do it. And that's a good feeling in anything we do, right? Great. Thank you very much, Anna, and congratulations on an inspiring piece. Connor Frew, how are you, Connor?
Good, nice to be here.
Great. So this is an essay that you wrote about the cycle of the soul. Yeah. So did you get to select this, or was this chosen for you?
Basically, somebody came in and they gave us a book of a catalog of the stuff that the DMA had, and I was just flipping through, and I really like circles, so they sort of stand out to me, and especially something that's such a modern concept like perfect balance and unity existing in, sort of a tribal setting is something that stood out. So I just was like, I kind of really want to do this. This is awesome. So that's basically what happened.
So how much time did you spend with it? Did it come to you immediately what this was about? Did you spend a lot of time with it? Did it slowly evolve? Did your thoughts change?
Usually they change. Like, I don't really write essays over small chunks of time over a long period of time. I, get a lot of soda and then I write it all at once.
Okay.
And then when I realize I've made mistakes, I go back the next day and I correct them. But this was, I wanted to put a lot more effort into this one, so I decided to delve into some of the research, and it's really fascinating. So, one of the scholars that works closely with these people, the UPeaks, her name is Anne Fiona Briorden, and she's one of the professors at Seattle's University of Washington, I believe, and she writes extensively about these people. So I was like, this is awesome. She's on JSTOR. I'm going to read all of her stuff. So I spent a lot of time just doing that.
Is there anything that you learned what surprised you the most? And also, was there anything that changed your perception of the world or of art?
I realized that I'm really drawn to sort of unique cultures. I mean, lots of people like special things, and to me, this is special. So, they really emphasize the cycle of the soul, Inua, the cycle of the soul that passes from the body to the world, as evidenced in like the concept of the circle would be the cycle, stability, balance, and so like reading about the way that these people live, that they have such reverence to a environment that can literally kill them if they're not careful. Like they respect it deeply and they really appreciate it, and that's something that I appreciate.
So you were able to relate to it even across all that time and space, and
Yeah, definitely.
so there's something about that there's that tension in our culture as well.
There's a lot of that.
Fascinating. So you learned something about yourself through these people that you'd never met through the art.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was a beautiful essay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Macy what? So nice to meet you. Great. Harmony with the earth and sky. So, like Connor, did you get to select the artwork that you wanted to write about? And what drew you to this piece?
Well, I think I've always felt a certain affinity to Asian art, probably due to cultural heritage. But this piece really stood out because it possessed like a sort of rustic feeling and also a feeling of how beautiful the unpredictability of nature is. So I decided to pick this piece to write about.
Nature, what is it that, what do you think it says about nature? And is there anything it's said about nature that surprised you or that gave you any fresh insights into nature?
Well, this piece actually deals with nature in respect to the Taoist religion, like the philosophy. And it really opened my eyes to that philosophy particularly because I hadn't learned a lot about it before. And I really enjoyed how they thought that harmony and a balance with the universe was the way to achieve immortality and inner peace with yourself. And I think that's actually really prevalent with our society considering how much time we spend indoors with our technological age. So,
did it inspire you to want to go out more and look at nature and sort of see where you fit into the grand scheme?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it is very peaceful. How does it make you feel inside when you look at that?
Well, when I look at it, it actually is like, well, it's from the Momoyama period of Japanese art, which was a period that was finding the balance between sumptuous art. So you can still see there's a gold background and the balance between simplicity. So I feel like it gives me a good balance inside between these two opposite poles, and it feels pretty good.
That's great. Did it inspire you to want to see more art of that period and that time?
Yeah, I actually looked up a lot of the Taoist art from the oldest, like from the creation of the religion to modern art for the Taoist religion, as well as a lot of other Japanese pieces to get to understand the feel of this type of art.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your insights. Beautifully done.
Thank you.
Thank you. beautiful. Dylan, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
It just, did you all feel that? It was, I think the first part was just so, it was just so strong and full of life, and the second part comes in and just the fading
Fades
away.
away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
The piece is written as a description of the setting sun, actually. So the opening line, you have this simple melody, this simple alto melody, and it's kind of this. It's almost like a chorale. You can hear the singer singing with all this vibrato and all this emotion, and it's the sun. The chorale is the sun, and it builds and builds into this climax, this sunset. And as the blue hour passes, and the world turns blue and then gray and then black, and the sun goes down, and after the sun goes down, you hear this chromaticism and this quartism. And this hymn, that's the original theme. The sun has returned, but it's a choir mourning the departed sun. And it fades away into this high A pedal tone, this high A pattern, which are stars glimmering above.
Lovely. Dylan, did this melody come to you whole, or did it come in pieces and then you put it together? How long was it something you had to puzzle over, or is it something that came in a rush?
The initial melody, that initial alto line, did come in one sitting. I was sitting in front of my piano. Actually, it was a few months ago. It was raining outside, and I was watching the rain, and the sun was going down. And I'm sure most of you, and you've noticed, before the sun goes down on some days, not all, there's this hour when the world turns blue and everything is flooded with blue light, and that's what the melody is supposed to depict. And I used that melody as a seed, as a little organic bit from which I could grow the rest of the piece, which took me about 3 months.
Is there a feeling when something like that comes to you? Is there a special feeling inside, like I got it? There's some kind of excitement. I know I got something really special, real here.
Absolutely, because especially with composition, you can sometimes sit at the piano or even away from the piano and just think for hours, trying to get an idea to come to you. Because as a composer, you can develop an idea into something consciously, but the idea itself is inspiration. You have to wait for it. And sometimes I'll have ideas that come to me sitting in math class, which, trust me, is much more fun than math. But
so
and
what's
I'll
that
jot them
connection
down.
with math and music? No one's ever really fully explained that, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All those intervals, I don't know.
But it was in one particular day at one particular time that I was inspired to write that original theme.
How does this fit for you? I mean, imagine you like to sit at your piano, you think about music. How does this fit for you among other things that you've created?
Compositionally?
Compositionally.
Well, I mean, I write for a lot of different instrumentations. I'm actually a percussionist myself. But this, I don't mostly write for piano. But this particular piece fits with the rest in that I chose to use piano because it produces this timbre, this kind of quality. And when the original theme came to me, it didn't have to be piano. I sit at the piano and I write, but I could very well be writing for strings. But I chose piano because the quality of the sound, the timbre, the color of the tone is just so pure, so fresh, so wet almost. And you can hear the rain falling and you can see the sun setting because the instrument produces this clear, this cutting, but at the same time gentle tone. So that's why I chose this instrument, and I think in the context of a lot of my other work, it's very delicate, it's very gentle, and the use of the piano really is key. It facilitates that.
Dylan, thank you so much. This was very beautiful. I look forward to listening to this again. I know that this is going to be sent to me, and this is something I'm going to want to listen to again. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Okay. Jason Kim? Wonderful. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Did you see the little story I did on your piece? It was in the paper. Yes. I was very moved by this, very saddened because I don't know. Do you all know what inspired this piece of Jason's? Did you want to share the inspiration?
Well, before this piece, before I even made this piece, just the weekend, during the weekend, I got on Facebook as normally, and there were many Facebook posts of my friend and everyone else's friend in Kappa community. He was missing. He was at the cliff at Possum Lake, and he was cliff diving, and he was missing for an hour, and that just struck to me. It was a peaceful Sunday afternoon, and the moment I got on Facebook, a lot of thoughts occurred, and just the week after that Sunday, a lot of Coppell community was, the whole school was mourning.
Yes.
There was quite a few moments of silences, and that week, my art teacher, Miss Westerveld, she said that, quite. She said that art should reflect society, and that with this event, that just inspired me to create this piece.
Now, I know how sad you were, and how we all are, even those of us who didn't know these young men who died. When you created this piece, it was a very interesting choice here, because you didn't draw the ones who died, you drew the ones who were grieving. Is that right? How did that come to you, the thought about how, because this is a hard feeling to express, a hard story to tell. What made you, did this just come to you? Did you think about it? Was it something that came from your head, or it just came out naturally the way you did it?
I guess.
And are you one of these people? I mean, do you?
Well, I wanted to, with these figures, I wanted to represent some type of unity, and I guess that would symbolize the whole Coppell community who
Coming together.
came together for a prayer visual at the school's football field. And that happened the Sunday of his missing, and that right there inspired me to create this composition. I saw this in my head when
And did that help? I mean, it's in such a sad time. Do you feel when people come together like this, as sad as it is? And I thought it's very interesting, your choice of the black and white. You didn't want to use color, because mourning colors are probably black and white, right? They're kind of stark. It's life and death. But did that bring you some comfort, the prayer vigil coming together?
Yes.
Life in the midst of death?
Yes.
This was very moving. Thank you for sharing this beautiful work. I really thank you very much. Okay, Richard, Kim, The Unnatural. I have to say that Pinocchio is one of my all-time favorite stories. And look at this nose. Isn't that something? I think one of the things that struck me about this is that, so often when we see the Pinocchio figure, it's kind of perfect, it's done in kind of a cute or cartoony type of way. And this is rough. It has a sort of a,
Yes.
how do you feel, we were talking earlier about the Pinocchio story. I mean, did you want to do Pinocchio and find this, or you just found these pieces and thought Pinocchio?
Well, actually, this was based off of the novel version of Pinocchio, not the Walt Disney.
Carlos Collodi. I read the original and I love it. I recommend it.
And well, basically, how I made this piece is I, kind of think as I work. So I was one day walking at the woods at Fort Worth, and I just found this piece of log. And it just had a unique shape to it, the nose and everything. So I brought it home one day, and then my grandmother was like, "Why did you bring this in?" And so I was like, "What do you think of this?" And she was like, "Nothing, just dust collecting."
Grandmas are so honest.
And so, well, basically, this was one of my art projects for my AP class. So it's a texture piece. So instead of having a perfect face like you described, I instead kind of gave it like a little human touch to it. What I think is imperfect things can make perfect parts. So
Interesting. I like that. Imperfect things can make perfect parts. Very nice.
so what I did is I don't get new materials. I just usually find things that are often laid outside, or people who just throw things away. I just get it and then try to think, where should this go? And so everything you see here is just trash I found and just forged together.
But that's what Pinocchio was. He was a puppet made of leftover wood, right? He was just a piece that was whittled, and but something special came out of it, something magical.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's sort of what we are, right? We're sort of cells that are one turned into another, and something special. And what do you like the best about the Pinocchio? So when you look at this, how does this make you feel?
It kind of makes me remember that we're human, that no one's perfect, and it's just kind of gives us that little moral lesson.
Very nice. That's a very nice message. It's a very lovely piece. Thank you so much, Richard. Mackenzie Miller.
Hello.
Hello, so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Wow, this is a beautiful piece of work and very thought-provoking. Because here it is, you've got a figure, and you're not actually seeing a face. The fabric is the face.
Right.
And that was very purposeful on your part. Was this did you think this out before you did it, or did you do it and then it just sort of seemed to make sense organically?
This was part of a series of paintings that I did for my AP art class, and the whole theme of the concentration basically relies on clothes and how we rely on clothes as a personal statement to other people before you even open your mouth to someone. They've looked at what you're wearing. They make an assessment of who you are. And so that's kind of how the whole thing played out. And this was one of the later ones. And so all the pieces relate to people in my life and different sides of these people in my life. There are some of my parents and, the business side of someone, or the more at home and relaxed side, like different sides of you that you choose to portray through what you're wearing.
So tell me about this particular one then. What do these pieces say? Who do they represent?
This is my friend Tony, and she's one of my closest friends, and so I decided I really wanted to do her. A lot of that is because I really admire the way she dresses. I don't know if that's super deep or anything, but she's really important to me, and a lot of what I guess this says about her is just, it's hard to express, but she's a very important person to me, and so I thought it was really important to represent her in my concentration. And I also got to keep some of the clothes afterwards, so that was very exciting for me.
Did she pose for this, or did you?
No, most of what I did is took clothes from her closet and just kind of laid them out and tried to represent as best as I could.
Wow, that's very interesting. Well, yeah, it's so fascinating choices there, and the detail is really exquisite.
It took a really long time.
Did a lovely job. Well, it is very interesting about what you say about clothes. I mean, when you think about it, it's the skin or the clothes of the body, right? So
Very much so.
And then you have the clothes that on top of that. Beautifully done. And did Tony appreciate it? Did she recognize herself in it?
She definitely recognized the clothes.
That's great. Well, this is just a lovely piece. I hope I'll get to see the rest of the series at some point.
I hope so
Fascinating.
too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mackenzie. It's beautiful. Samantha Miller. Hello, Samantha.
Hello.
Now, we spoke a little bit outside, and I have to say, I love I love animation. And I know this is not animated. I know this is a drawing. But it looks like a movie waiting to happen. I'm waiting. Aren't you all like waiting to see what this fox does next?
Yeah, I'm waiting too. Don't worry.
But you were telling me a little bit that the fox has a name.
She does. Her name is Riala.
It's Riella. And you've been friends with Riella for now
For about 2 years.
about 2 years. How did Riella come to you?
Well, I work with a lot of characters. I do a lot of character design. It's one of the favorite things that I do. And I've worked with a lot of characters over the years, and I wanted something smaller to work with just for a little while. And I decided, why not a fox, just to try it out. And I wasn't really planning on keeping her, but she was like, I'm just going to take over your life now. Is that okay? So that happened.
So tell me about Riella. So you found her, she took over. What is it about her? I mean, and she's got this look in her eyes.
Yeah, she's a fox.
Is she trouble?
We're just going to say that. Yes, she is.
Oh my goodness. Like, and what obviously she's a jewel thief. What
Yeah.
what else? What other kind of mischief is she up to?
You name it, she's probably done it.
Okay. Well, it's been 2 years. So tell me about some of the other
All right, other
things
things.
she's done.
I've done several pieces. Like one of the ones, she's broken into a library for pretty much no reason. What else has she done? She has, one of the pieces I did, she tied herself to some balloons to try to float up to who knows where. And pretty much everything else. She has a unique fashion style too, or at least she tries to. And she's just a fun character to work with, and I love her.
Oh, that's great. Well, she's just, yes, she's got so much personality. It would be hard not to love her. And a purple fox.
Purple's fun.
So was that?
Well, that's just shading, but yeah, the entire room is purple, so it just kind of comes off as purple. But she's white.
Oh, okay. That's good. She blends in
Yeah.
chameleon-like to her surroundings. So, and what did you use to create this? Is this?
It is all in Photoshop.
It is all in Photoshop. Okay. So this is great. And so what is it that you love about making characters?
There's just something about having, like, I talked to this one guy named Glenn Keane. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes.
He's worked for
Disney?
Disney forever. He recently retired.
He did Tarzan, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Mhm. I think I've interviewed him years ago.
Yeah, I got the chance to meet him, and he told me, it's not about you. Basically, it's about what the character has to impact on people. You basically take care of them, and then you put them somewhere, and they're the ones affecting the audience, not really you personally. So, but it's our job to make them able to communicate with the audience, and I love that feeling.
So when, since your character when Riella has a life of her own, so do you find yourself just sort of drawing and just things happen when you
Yes.
draw her, as opposed to saying, I'm going to have her hold balloons?
Oh no,
It's more-
she pretty much has taken over the entire thing.
So
I'm just
you're-
here, pretty
you're
much.
just channeling.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm pretty much her puppet. So it's like, thanks. This is the greatest job ever.
well, thank you for sharing her with us. She is extraordinary, and I can't wait to see some more of her adventures.
All right. Well, thank you.
This is going to be a wonderful book or movie. Absolutely, Samantha. Thank you. You and me. Is that correct? Multiple personality disorder. I have to say, this is riveting. This is just very hard to take your eyes off. Just the way the one head connects to the other. Is this something you saw in your head that you conceived of before you created it? Was it a thought process, or was it unconscious, or how did this develop?
Well, I knew that I wanted to make a piece that had something to do with multiple personality disorder, but it took me so long. I was just sitting there with paper and a pen trying to sketch it out, and it took me a really long time to kind of do the configuration, how I wanted to place the heads, things like that. But once I decided on what I wanted to do, and then I was just working with the clay, it actually happened really fast.
And what fascinated you about multiple personality disorder? Why did you want to do that?
Well, this was actually one piece in a series for my concentration for my AP art class, and my concentration was based off of mental disorders.
Interesting.
And so this was the first project I did. And
have you done others as well?
Not all relating to multiple personality disorder, but relating to different mental disorders.
Well, that's so interesting, because mental illness, I've been writing about that myself, and it's such a hard thing for people to understand. And I've never really heard of anyone trying to express it through art. So do you have an interest in health as well as art? And are you trying to bring those together to sort of a sense of, are you trying to sort of express how it feels, perhaps?
I wanted to
have
try
this
and
disorder?
depict the disorder,
Yeah.
but also adding my own artistic interpretation and making it visually interesting. And so that was kind of my challenge, was to basically take the illnesses and the disorders, but then try and make it interesting to the viewer.
Well, it's definitely interesting. It just looks to see there's a lot of pain, particularly in the top head. The first one seems like maybe not as conscious of it, but as you move up, it just seems that there's a lot of more, just the distress increases.
That's exactly what I was intending. The bottom head is kind of supposed to represent a normal state of mind, and then kind of as you go up, the craziness elevates and the pain. And
Have you just studied this topic, or have you worked with people with mental illness? Because you seem very insightful about it. There seems to be a lot of insight here into how it may feel from the inside.
Well, I've never actually personally
Known anyone?
Known anyone. Yeah, this isn't some sort of demented portrait of anyone.
No. I was just.
But I have always kind of had a fascination with mental illness and just health in general, like you were saying, kind of the combination of the two fields. So that's kind of where I was going with this.
Well, that's great, and we all need to understand it better, because a lot of people need help. That this is a fascinating piece, really beautifully done, and look forward to seeing the rest of your series.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Nikita. Sweta Nellicante.
Nalakanti.
This is such a pretty piece. I have to say that I love all the pieces in this exhibit, and some are, heartrending, and some are light, some are funny. This is just so. It's so light. It almost seems like it floats. It just has an airy quality to it. What fascinated you about the toothpicks, and how do you make toothpicks do that? That's really astonishing.
Actually, there's an artist. This is also for my concentrations, a series of pieces. So I did one piece. It's more basic than this, but I really liked working with the toothpicks. And this artist named Francesca McCullough, she inspired me to expand the horizon. So I decided that bending the toothpicks would help me, which took a very long time.
How do you bend them without breaking them?
A lot of patience.
Oh.
I literally had a stack of bent ones, broken ones, and
Wow.
I had toothpicks everywhere in the house.
Now, isn't that the artistic process? For everything that turns out right, you had to have done at least 100 wrong.
Definitely.
So it's a micro. But wow, how many toothpicks did you end up using in this sculpture?
I'm not sure. I lost count.
Okay.
I had to cut half of them to create the more detailed layers of each circle and shape in it. But yeah, a lot.
Had you envisioned that this is what you wanted it to look like, or did it surprise you as it all
I started
built?
My idea was to take one shape and then rebuild it multiple times, and I put it together. And so I started with a basic shape and made a multiples of that, and then I'm like, let's see how these work together, and made a half a circle, kind of depicting a flower kind of thing. So
When did you know you were done?
when I don't know, I didn't want to make a complete circle because I knew it would be fragile and break down. So when I started building it more and more, I decided that when you see the top layer has 3 petals together and the next layer has 2 and then the bottom one had 1, I was like, this is it, this is done. I decided.
Wow, it's just lovely. And how does it make you feel when you look at it now?
Very accomplished.
And how long did it take you to do this?
That piece probably took 2 weeks, I think, of daily work.
And you're sitting there with the toothpicks.
Yes.
Wow. How many boxes do you think you went through?
At least 6,
Okay.
7.
All right. It's beautiful. It's really lovely. And you think, I guess it takes a lot of work to make a flower. The real kind and the toothpick kind, right? Thank you so much, Sweta. Hello. Oh, it's Haley Parsa. Wow, this is a very, very interesting piece of work. It's just you're calling it a little bit cold, a little bit harsh. Yes. And boy, she looks haunted.
That's I guess what I was going for.
What's going on in her head what is the long fingers, the sunken eyes, what is going on there with this character?
Well, I was largely inspired by the black and white photos of Deanne Arbus.
Oh, yes, I could see that.
Yes.
Definitely.
And our assignment was basically to do a self-portrait. And I guess after looking at so many of her photos, I kind of stalked and obsessed over her for a good few weeks.
Diane Arbus?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I kind of resonated, I found a lot of myself in her, so that this piece kind of ended up being like a tribute to her in a way, in that, well, it's called A Little Bit Cold, A Little Bit Harsh, because that's what she said a photo was. And so she was renowned for, I guess, capturing people frozen in that one moment of time. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her work, but it's very
oh, yes. No, she's
it's very unsettling, and it's mainly transvestites or just people that you generally would think were very odd. And she didn't pose anything. She said she would move herself around the room and just kind of catch them naturally. So I guess I wanted to show a different side of myself that I guess most people don't see.
I think that's just so interesting and so brave, too, because very often when people do self-portraits, I mean, in general, people always are trying to make themselves look prettier, look nicer, and you're going for something, you're finding something a little darker, a little more haunted, and that's an interesting place for you to go. Was it a little bit scary to go there, or did you find it invigorating?
I actually was not scared of it at all. I'm in love with her, so I kind of wanted to embrace my inner Arbus.
But she did photographs. This is a painting
right,
or
it's
drawing?
colored pencil.
Colored pencil. Yeah. Beautifully done. And the long. Can you tell me what you're thinking in this? Do you know what you're thinking, or what you're feeling?
I guess I kind of wanted it to be almost like I was already there. Not as if the person viewing it wasn't supposed to be there, but almost, I don't know if this makes sense, as if I'm, for whatever reason, already kind of posed like that, and then the person almost invaded on it in a way. I'm not really sure what I'm thinking in it.
It's interesting. It's almost out of one of these, I don't know why it's making me think Lemony Snicket, or one of these long, elongated, and a little bit of a darker time of Victorian, or somebody with some kind of a secret, but a lot of depth. There's a lot going on there, and you just sort of want to know more. You've created a picture that someone wants to know a lot more about.
I guess that's what I initially wanted to do, I guess.
Very well done, very beautifully done, and the details, even with the straggling hair. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Haley, beautiful job.
Thank you.
Alexis Politz? Now, this is called Groundings.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, is this a real place? Is this an imaginary place? What is this?
Yes, it's actually that's my backyard.
Okay.
Yes, that is my backyard, my beautiful house, and my short 3-foot fence. The rest of it is actually my backyard. All of the grass, we just never had a chance to put up a real fence, so that's what we had money to do for. So we did that for my dog.
Okay, so you have a little fence, and that's where the dog is in here, and then outside, this is still part of your yard?
Yes, we have a huge backyard, but it's sad we don't really utilize it. So.
And so what inspired you to do your backyard? Is that a special place to you? And it's sort of interesting how this extends here. It almost seems like one of these cutout things that you would fold up.
Yeah.
It has that look to it.
Actually, I had found this piece of cardboard just okay, this is really random. I had this huge package of music CDs that I got from a store called Fifth Element, And it came in this beautiful, just like little cardboard box. And when I opened it, I was like, oh, hey, this is really neat. I should use this. So I stowed it away for a while, and I came back to it. And I was like, ooh, this would be really neat to paint on. So when I actually started painting it, I painted the inside. But when I submitted it actually to this, it was folded up. And there's actually a painting on the outside of my front yard. So it was folded, and I wanted it to be opened. So this is what it opens up to. But yes, my backyard, I love sitting back there. I love drawing back there, painting back there. But I've never done an actual painting of my backyard. So I decided to.
Interesting. It's just and it's interesting how the fence just sort of juts out at you. And then you have this expanse. So you have a closed-in feeling here, but then it just seems open-ended, like it goes on forever. This part of it does.
Yeah. I wanted it to be kind of, well, when I had started it, I started obviously like in the center of the piece, and I worked out from all the angles. And then when I came down to like the smaller panels, or like the out panels, I was like, what am I gonna do with this? I don't wanna make this as detailed. And I kind of just had like a downward, they were all from my view, so I was kind of like turning when I did it and looking down like, oh, that's nice, like I'll do that. But I tried to make it kind of like it was like left off there, like it's about to just, it's kind of stopping because it's not as detailed, so yeah.
Yeah, but just the sense of that the whole world outside just goes on
It's like
and on.
opened. Yeah.
Right, it's opened up, and then this is sort of a little more confined, you know? The little backyard, the big backyard. It's an interesting contrast there.
Thank you.
And it's clearly a place that you love.
Yeah, it's great. I feel like we never use it enough though, but I really appreciate it, especially when the sun sets. It's awesome. It's a great place to be.
Well, you certainly got your use out of it here. So I think you did. This lovely, lovely piece, and it also has that Texas look, not too bright, right? It's got a little bit of the kind of the
It was
Texas.
a great time of the day to paint that, and I was in such a rush, and I was like, I'm going to spend this 2 hours, and I'm going to paint this right now. And so I just did.
It's lovely. And why did you call it groundings?
Well, it was from a ground position. I was sitting just Indian style on a blanket in my backyard, and
Nice.
I just felt very, I guess, I don't know, it's just where I live. It's I don't know, I've lived
Feel
there.
grounded there.
Yeah, I just feel like in place, and I don't know, going back to like how we never really used the backyard, I don't know, I just felt planted in there, I guess. Sounds really weird, but
You know that old Greek myth about Atlas? You all know that story? Well, Atlas
I
always got his strength from the ground because his mother was the earth.
Oh.
So when Hercules went to go fight, no one could beat Atlas, and the way he was told to beat him was that he had to wrestle him and hold him over his head, because if he couldn't touch the
couldn't do
earth,
anything.
he lost his strength. So it seems like you get your
Neat.
strength
And I
from
am
the earth.
Greek, so.
Exactly. Lovely, lovely piece. Very
you.
nice,
Appreciate it.
Alexis.
Thank you.
So nice to meet
So
you.
nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia Zapata Schleifer.
I go by Kennedy.
You go by Kennedy?
Yeah.
Oh, Sylvia Kennedy?
No, just Kennedy.
Oh, Kennedy. Okay, okay. Well, nice to meet you, Kennedy. So, Muted Phantasmagoria. This was one of the most, complex and perplexing ones. This is such an interesting, intricate piece. Can you tell me what inspired it?
Well, my teacher, he gave us the assignment to generally use monochromatic colors and piece it together, and I just complied with the assignment.
Okay. Well, what did you think? What made you feel that you had it, that it was done, that it worked for you? Because you could play around with these kinds of shapes a long time, and then you stop when it seems right to you, right? When did it?
Well, I actually thought I could do more to it, but then the assignment was due, and I was like,
Okay, well, there you go.
I threw a few more pieces on there. I was like, yeah, it's finished. Which way does it go? But I kind of...
Well, I just see all sorts of interesting things in here. I mean, this thing, I'm seeing almost a helmet. I'm thinking of a spaceship. I'm thinking of all sorts of odd, interesting places it's suggesting to me. What does it suggest to you?
Detail.
Just detail, okay. Is there something about shapes that you like? Is there something about different shapes that fascinates you?
Well, actually, I just like using paper.
And this is all paper, pieces of paper put together?
Yeah, because you could really manipulate it easily and just put it together to make something nice.
So this is like paper on top of paper?
Yes.
Different cutout shapes?
A collage.
Have you done other work like this? I mean, other collages?
Oh yeah, I did a couple this year. Just.
And then were they abstract as well, or did you?
Well, I did one where it was not abstract. It was the beneath view of a person sitting at a table. So it's just like the foot. So it's not it was real. And well, that was like the only other collage I did, actually.
Well, collages are so interesting because, as you said, they are layers. And so much in life has to do with layers. Sometimes one thing is obscured by another thing. Or sometimes it's deepened or heightened, or one thing almost reflects on the other. And there's a certain interaction there. And sometimes we don't always understand what the interaction is, right? But sometimes there are unexpected harmonies, and sometimes there are unexpected conflicts, right? So it's interesting. It's a very interesting piece. And you called it Muted. How did you pick the name, Muted Phantasmagoria?
Well, in English, we were learning new vocabulary words, and
Okay.
I was stuck, and I was trying to come up with a title, and I was like, oh, wait, we use Phantasmagoria.
I love that word.
And so I was like, oh, it's dark, so it's Muted Phantasmagoria. So.
Muted because of the colors and
Yes.
everything. Well, it's lovely. It's very intricate, and it just there's something fascinating about it. Well, thank you so much for sharing this.
No problem.
It was so nice to meet you. So I just want to say thank you so much. This was really an honor for me to get to know all of you. I'm going to be writing about this again. I hope when I write about it that you will share it, that you will share the links. It will be in print. It will be online. I put it on Facebook. I have a Dallas Moms blog that I run, and I tweet at Churnin. And one of the reasons I'm encouraging you to share it is, well, of course, I want everyone to see your work, of course, but also it sends a powerful message. The more people click on things and they like things and they share things, it sends a message to the people at our paper that, hey, people care about the kind of work that you do. And I know they do. So, it would help me help you if this gets shared a lot, and I hope it does, and you deserve it. I also hope you'll all stay in touch. I mean, I think you guys are going to be doing amazing things in the years ahead. I've written about you now, but you should all know how to stay in touch with me if you want to share work as it comes up down the road. Churnin at dallasnews.com, and I do a blog, and I can always update people like, hey, remember this young artist I wrote about in the Young Masters program? Guess what he's doing now? Guess what she's doing now? And we can keep everyone updated. You guys are amazing. You should be very proud. And I've been very moved and have enjoyed so much what I've seen. Thank you for sharing it with me.